How was the battle for the Alamo, and how long did it last? The Texas Revolution. In February 1836, a small garrison of Texian rebels occupied the old Spanish mission in San Antonio de Bejar, intending to hold back the advance of the huge Mexican army under the command of President Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. The balance of power was catastrophic. An army of several thousand men opposed 1.5 to 200 defenders. Nevertheless, the besieged accepted the battle, well aware of how it could end. On February 23, 1836, Mexican troops entered the city and surrounded the fort. Santa Anna immediately ordered the raising of a blood-red flag, an unequivocal signal that there would be no mercy for anyone. The garrison, which was actually led by Lieutenant Colonel William Travis, responded with an artillery salvo. Among the defenders were people whose names would later go down in history: the skilled hunter and scout Davy Crockett, as well as James Bowie, a legendary man who was bedridden with a serious illness but did not leave the fort. Travis sent out messengers with letters calling for reinforcements. His messages spread throughout Texas and the United States, but no real help came. The commander-in-chief of the Texas Army, Sam Houston, considered the defense of the Alamo unpromising and did not send troops to the rescue of the besieged. For almost 2 weeks, Mexican artillery constantly bombarded the fort, gradually moving the guns closer to the walls. The defenders fortified their positions as best they could. They pierced loopholes, dug shelters, and erected barricades. The sorties were immediately suppressed by the Mexican cavalry. By the night of March 5th to 6th, Santa Anna had ordered the assault. At dawn, at about 5:30 in the morning, the Mexican infantry marched in 3 columns to the assault. The first 2 onslaughts were repulsed with heavy losses for the attackers. However, the third wave broke through the defenses. A gap formed in the wall and the soldiers rushed inside. The battle spilled over into the barracks and the chapel, turning into a merciless fight in cramped quarters. Bowie fought to the last in his room and was bayoneted. Crockett was found dead, surrounded by several dead opponents. By 6:30 in the morning, it was all over. Almost the entire garrison, from 180 to 250 people, died. Only a few survived: several women and children, Joe's black servant, and a former Mexican soldier who managed to convince his compatriots that he was in captivity. Those who tried to surrender were executed on Santa Anna's personal orders. The bodies of the dead Texans were burned. The news of the defeat caused a wave of panic. Thousands of residents rushed to flee to the east, but at the same time, the death of the Alamo defenders rocked the whole of Texas. The slogan, "Remember the Alamo," became the battle cry under which Houston's army defeated Santa Anna at San Jacinto in 18 minutes on April 21, 1836. The Mexican president was captured and forced to recognize the independence of Texas. What do you think about this?